Hi everyone. For my intervention assessment presentation, I am going to talk about a study that I found while writing my intervention assessment paper. The study is titled Peer Video Modeling, Teaching Changed Social Game Behaviors to Children with Autism Spectrum Disorders. The authors of this study are Jennifer Corasanis, Emily A. Jones, and Daniel M. Feenup. I don't know if I pronounced those correctly. The purpose of this study was to assess the acquisition of changed social behaviors using video modeling in hopes to further validate peer video modeling as an effective teaching method. So basically they just wanted to provide further research validating the efficacy of using video modeling. The participants of this study, there were two participants. Their names were Sally and Andy. Sally is a 5-year-old female. Sally has a primary diagnosis of pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified. And Andy is a 6-year-old male with a primary diagnosis of autism spectrum disorders. Both participants had been attending weekly social skills groups for about a year prior to this study being conducted. They were in the social skills group together as well, so they were familiar with each other. Both participants were chosen for this study based off of 4 inclusion criterion, one being that they needed an autism spectrum disorder diagnosis, another being that they had use of multi-word sentences with extensive grade level vocabulary. The participants engaged in generalized imitation and followed simple 1 to 2 step commands. And the participants did not independently engage in group activities that involved chain gross motor behaviors. The setting for this study took place at the center where Sally and Andy participated in their weekly social skills group. The center where they were going for the social skills group provides individuals with one-to-one ABA therapy, social skills groups, and parent training. Throughout the study, Andy and Sally continued to attend their regularly scheduled social skills group in one therapy room while watching video models and playing the social games without their other peers in a nearby room that contained a television and DVD player so they could watch the video models. All of the videos used in this study came directly from YouTube. Each of the videos were roughly 40 seconds in length, so as not to go too long, in hopes that the participants would attend to the videos for the duration of them. So again, the videos came from YouTube, therefore the participants were unfamiliar with the peers that they were observing in these videos, but the children in the videos were about the same age as the participants. The dependent variable in this study was the percentage of independent correct steps performed of the task analysis for each of the 2 social games. The social games were Duck, Duck, Goose and Hokey Pokey. The behaviors had to occur within 5 seconds and in the correct order to be considered correct for data collection purposes. The independent variable in this study was using peer video modeling and verbal praise on chain gross motor behaviors during social games. In regards to effectiveness, overall the study did end up providing further evidence supporting the effectiveness of using video modeling to teach gross motor chained behaviors. That can be said because both participants in this study did meet the mastery criteria set for the study, which was 90% or more correct steps performed independently in the social games that they were playing. In addition, the researchers participating in this study saw an increase in the percentage of independent correct responses during their no video probes as well as their video probes during the intervention phase, which meant that the video models caused a lasting effect for both participants. Therefore, they didn't necessarily need to see the video model right before participating in the social games, without displaying the correct responses. So that was really good. There were several limitations with this study. I'm going to go through and list the limitations mentioned. One being that the participants were chosen based on their current social skill repertoire and deficits. Therefore, the researchers, one of the authors of this study actually worked in this social skills group. So I guess the author was likely familiar with the participants and kind of knew that they contained some of the strengths that they were looking for, also the weaknesses. So they were picked pretty perfectly to go with this study. The participants were not always attentive to the video models. This may be due to the fact that the videos contained unfamiliar or unmotivating peers. There was not a preference assessment completed to determine what the most reinforcing stimuli would be to use. In other words, there could have been a preference assessment conducted to see if the participants were more attentive to a specific style of video modeling, such as self-video modeling. They could have done peer video modeling, however, with familiar peers, or they could have done video modeling using adult staff members that the participants were familiar with. There's just a variety of things that they could have assessed prior to deciding that they were going to use this style of video modeling. In addition, there's prompting used during the post-video probes. If the participant did not demonstrate an increase after 2 consecutive probes, this affects whether or not the participants had success solely because of the video modeling, or if they grew in their success due to video modeling paired with adult prompting. Also, the intervention was conducted in a group setting, allowing certain participants to serve as additional models as they, for example, I think Andy mastered most of the steps prior to Sally mastering them. Therefore, Andy served as a peer model for Sally, which could have affected her increase of percentage for correct responses throughout the study. So again, that takes away from the knowledge of whether it was video modeling alone or the combination of prompting, peer modeling, and video modeling. So after reading the article on the study done on video modeling to teach changed social game behaviors to children with autism, it really made me think about one of my current students and how I could use a similar procedure to target some social skills with him. So I'm going to describe him to you. He is a 7-year-old male with a primary diagnosis of autism spectrum disorders and a secondary diagnosis of ADHD. This student is verbal, but he has weaker expressive vocabulary and therefore does benefit from the use of an AAC device to help build on his expressive vocab. He has very strong receptive language skills. He's regularly seen scripting. He demonstrates some echoic behaviors, but his primary form of communication is verbalizations. So this particular student regularly seeks social interactions with peers, but you can tell just by observing him that he doesn't quite know how to effectively initiate an interaction with somebody, and he also struggles to maintain an interaction. For example, he's regularly seen on the playground kind of walking up to his peers, looking at them, turning his back to them, and then he kind of runs away, but while he's running away, he's checking back, he's giggling, he's hoping that his peers will chase him. However, many times his peers don't know that he's even seeking an interaction with them or what the expectation is for them, because he doesn't communicate that. I also thought of this particular student because in the past I have used video modeling to teach him different skills. I've used video self-modeling to teach him um, some safety skills. For example, there was a period of time where he wanted to play with the oven in his house, and his mom had expressed concerns to me about that. So what I did was I kind of staged him. Using video editing and staging certain events, I kind of staged a video of him walking up to the oven, stopping, seeking an adult's attention, asking if he could open the oven, look inside, close the oven, and walk away. And then I also provided him with a visual schedule that he would check, that he also checked off in the video self model. So he could only ask to open the oven 2 times in a day. And once he asked the 2 times, because once he figured out how to successfully ask me to go to the oven and open, or ask mom, it was just then this like repetitive behavior that he wanted to just continue to do. So then we just provided that additional structure of just limiting the requests to 2 times a day. So that video model really helped him and helped his mom at home. I also used point of view modeling with him to teach him shoe tying. So he has previous exposure to video modeling. He enjoys watching videos. He enjoys watching himself in videos. So he's really a video model kid. So I thought of using video modeling to teach him a chained social game as well. For this student, I'm going to make my dependent variable the percentage of independent correct initiations to maintain a task analysis game of catch with a peer. The independent variable would be to use peer video modeling, to use the use of peer video modeling intervention. How to teach this to this particular student, it would definitely be a process over time. So I'm just going to kind of go through the steps that I would take to teach this to a student. So first of all, I would use a peer video model that I found on YouTube that I will show you at the end of this explanation. So how to teach this skill. In order to collect the baseline data, I would first bring my student to an empty room and hand him a ball to see what he does naturally prior to me showing him any sort of peer video model. I would want to see what he does. He might dribble the ball, kick the ball, bounce it. He might do all these things alone without engaging with me at all, or he might throw the ball to me without saying anything at all and expect me just to know what he wants me to do. I will then provide my student with a 10-second time delay. If he does not initiate any form of engagement with the ball, I will verbally prompt him to play ball. Again, just to observe and see what he does naturally on his own. After kind of observing him to see what he does naturally, I would then show him a peer video model demonstrating the game of catch using my classroom iPad. I would do this during one-to-one instruction with the student. I would then bring the student to an empty room and provide him with a ball. I will then provide the student again with a 10-second time delay. If nothing happens, I would then sit the student in a chair and play the video on my classroom iPad again. For this phase of the intervention, I would serve as his peer that he would engage with. I'm going to collect data using a task analysis data sheet to monitor progress. Again, I will show that to you at the end of this explanation. After 3 consecutive trials where he is independently demonstrating the correct steps with me in that room, I will put a same-age familiar peer in the empty room with him. Once again, after showing him the peer video model in the one-to-one setting, we'll transfer to the empty room, this time with a peer instead of with me. This way I can see if he carries over the skill with a peer as opposed to an adult. I'll continue to collect data using the task analysis data sheet to monitor his progress. After 3 consecutive correct trials, I will transfer the skill to a more natural setting, such as the playground or the gymnasium. I'll begin by using myself as the peer once again because we're in a new setting and I want to make sure that it's controlled a little bit, and I can't guarantee that his peers will react exactly the way that he would like them to or I would like them to. So I'll begin by using myself as the peer, again with a 10-second time delay prior to showing him the peer video model. The second showing of the peer video model is serving as my prompt, so that I'm not providing any prompts, and that I'm solely assessing if he's learning these skills from video modeling alone. So after 3 consecutive trials where he's demonstrating again the correct independent responses, I will bring a peer into that natural setting, whether it be the playground or the gym. I'll take myself out of it. I will observe the interactions with each other that they're having with each other, and if I'm not seeing what I want to see, again using the 10-second time delay, I will still pull the student aside and show him the video again, and then kind of give him the ball again, bring his peer close to him, and see what happens, and continue to monitor progress. Eventually, with consistent continued success, I would say 10 consecutive independent correct response trials, I would be able to probably fade the video modeling and assess whether or not the student engages in the behaviors independently without watching the video model. So for my student, what I would do to teach him the task analysis version of catch for my dependent variable, I would use the following video. I'm going to show you. This is the video I would show my student during one-to-one instructional periods. This video will serve as the peer video model.
Let's play ball. Okay. Throw it. Roll it. Roll it to me. Roll it back to me. Kick it. Kick it to me.
So that would be the video model, and then I would use the following data sheet to monitor the progress for this particular student. So as you can see, the data sheet is broken down into a task analysis steps based on the video that you just observed. It's let's play ball, and then it's the target response that I'm looking for, and then it's broken down to 10 separate trials. So basically, to collect the data, I would use this prompt hierarchy, the numerical code. So if the student says let's play ball independently, I would mark this first box with a 1. If by the second step they're not spreading out, after his peer agrees to initiate with him, I would then maybe show the video model again. So I would mark this box with a 2, showing that there was model prompting or repetition of the video model. And if the student just, even after watching the video a second time, still is not engaging after the 10-second time delay, I would say a number 3 for student did not demonstrate this step.